Warpugs, this is the great thing about YouTube, is the fact that I can sit here and honestly say that about 5 minutes ago I didn't think I'd be watching a video about Taco Bell for any reason underneath the sun, because, my god, it's Taco Bell. The one place in God's green earth that, it's awful, whatever you're gonna get, but, you get it anyway because it's Taco Bell. Warpugs, it's the Fat Electrician, and he's talking about the one place on God's green earth where you know that what you're getting is going to shorten your lifespan by at least 2 weeks, but yet it's just so good you just want it. Oh god, what is that thing called? I can't, the cantina, whatever. Those quesadillas are ridiculous. I just don't even care. Let's just jump right into it. Warpugs, all the Fat Electricians links are going to be in the description down below. This is a secondary channel called the Fat Files. Let's jump into it. Oh, good God, here we go.
This is going to be one of those times where you're like, man, I feel like I knew that. It just never really dawned on me until now. Today we're talking about Taco Bell, probably the biggest troll in the restaurant industry.
True.
Buh! That's not true. Have you read Wendy's Twitter? It's hilarious. Buh! Yeah, we know Wendy's has a funny Twitter where they clap back at people in the comment section. Okay, what I need you to understand is that Taco Bell has been out here actively trolling entire government agencies, and they've been doing it since back in the 90s before the internet made that shit easy. They're quite literally one of, if not the only pioneer of meme-style marketing. And we're gonna get into it right after word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Sheath. Hey, look, I'm not gonna overcomplicate this. It's underwear with a pocket inside so you can stick your junk in it so your balls aren't stuck to your thigh. Okay, I've got this piece of paper with this page of all this shit I'm supposed to read. Like, oh, they have all these fancy new designs. Like, yeah, that's cool. They're also the official underwear of the UFC. Like, great. Okay, but look, here's the truth. You know who doesn't really need underwear to keep balls from sticking to their thigh? World-class athletes with six-packs. Okay, you wanna know who does need this underwear? Bigger dudes that have been told at every doctor's appointment since they were like 11 that they needed to lose weight, and they just so happen to sweat anytime the temperature gets above 72. Okay?
This is accurate.
Don't fucking look at me and I won't look at you, all right? Hey, you wanna know the best part about this underwear? You can buy a pair, try it out. Worst case scenario, you're like, you know what? Turns out I actually do enjoy my balls sticking to my thigh. You can just not stick your junk in the pocket, and then boom, you've got a normal pair of underwear that feels the exact same, except now you've got a secret pocket that you can, like, I don't know, hide stuff in if you wanted to.
Oh, and you can put your weed in there.
So yeah, you absolutely.
And there will be people that do that. There have been people that do that. There are people that are actively doing that as of right now, and we all know that that's the case. So, yeah.
Absolutely need to try some Sheath underwear. You literally have nothing to lose. The worst case scenario is that you bought some underwear. The best case scenario is that you never have your balls stuck to your thigh ever again. I'm gonna have a link and a discount code down below. Let's get back to the video.
Warpugs, I will be adding the underwear to the long list of his sponsors down below. Get yourself some Sheath underwear and prevent your balls from sticking to your thigh. Imagine for a second how the guy came up with that little thing. It had to be a hot day down somewhere south where the humidity was just outrageous. And he was like, God, there has to be an underwear that keeps you from having this issue. And he looked online and saw that none such underwear existed. And he named it Sheath. I applaud that business model.
Our story begins in 1948 with a young man by the name of Glenn Bell. See what they did there? Glenn Bell, Taco Bell.
Okay.
Anyways, moving on. Glenn Bell has just returned home from serving his country as a cook in the United States Marine Corps.
Okay.
Right out of the gate, things are already starting to add up. I've said it once and I'll say it again. You don't call up the Marines unless you want something dead, broken, or pregnant. And I've known that Taco Bell was military food all along. But Glenn didn't start off by selling Mexican food right out of the gate. He actually opened up a hot dog stand in San Bernardino, California, known as Glenn's Drive-In. And things go absolutely awesome. They go so awesome that after a couple of years, he opens up a second location and expands into not only selling hot dogs, but also selling hamburgers. But then another restaurant comes into San Bernardino, California, and they're also just trying to sell a bunch of hamburgers, a little company called McDonald's.
Yeah.
So Glenn decides, you know what? I'm not going to try to out hamburger McDonald's. I'm going to go ahead and make a slight alteration to my menu. I'm not going to sell hot dogs and hamburgers anymore. I'm going to start selling tacos. And my favorite little fun fact about this is that Taco Bell's taco sauce is actually Glenn Bell's original recipe for the chili in his chili dog.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
It's it. Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is a man. Oh my God.
911.
It just stuns me what we used to watch, and it was completely okay with that. If it came out today, like legitimately, there will be riots in the street about the fact that it was even allowed to air.
What's your emergency?
Yeah, did you guys know that tacos are just Mexican hot dogs?
Services for emergencies only?
Yeah, I know, but hear me out. This is why Taco Bell's original slogan was always think outside the bun.
Holy
She is suffering from the worst case of hemorrhoids I have ever seen.
Sorry, I got really distracted. Anyways, he goes from selling hot dogs and hamburgers, changes the name of his restaurant to Taco
Oh
Tia,
my God.
and now he starts selling tacos out of a drive-thru window.
Nice.
And his entire strategy is volume. He wants to sell as many tacos as possible, as cheaply as possible. He ends
Okay.
up selling tacos for 19 cents a piece, and the reason he's able to do that is he just streamlines the entire making or assembly process of a taco. And the way he does that is he pretty much exclusively utilizes hard shells. That way, tacos are just easier to make and the shells are always ready. And to some degree, he's kind of credited with inventing the hard shell taco, which probably isn't true, but he's definitely the reason that they became so popular.
Okay.
And if you think that sounds crazy, it's absolutely not. You gotta remember,
No.
this is like the 1950s. A lot of people in America that weren't near the southern border had never even heard of a taco, let alone had one. For a lot of people at this point in time, the first time they actually had Mexican food was at a Taco Bell once they started expanding. But regardless, the point is, Glenn Bell has officially just become the Henry Ford of tacos, okay? Just mass production. And to nobody's surprise, that goes great. He grows Taco Tia into multiple locations, ends up selling the entire brand off to another company, starts his own company to grow it again. This
Okay.
one is called El Taco. Does the same thing all over again, grows a company, sells it off. This time he wants to do it a fourth time, but he wants to make it a franchise company and he wants to run the entire thing. So he needs some capital. He partners up with 4 players from the NFL's LA Rams, and they end up starting the very first Taco Bell in 1962. And absolutely no
Okay.
surprise, they totally crush it. I mean, they're selling 19-cent tacos to Americans. It's basically a layup. In the NBA, though.
Long pass, perfect to Reese. Well, again, no Brian Reese. Further to go, Angel. Physical game.
I know what he's saying. I know why he's saying it. If you don't know, yeah. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't.
Kennedy, Carter.
Yep. You know, I could say so much about the WNBA. I could say so much. But enjoy the one season. Enjoy the one season you had. Enjoy the one season you did damned have.
Anyways, within 5 years of being in business, they're doing so well that by 1967, other successful fast food franchises are looking to cut in to this fast food Mexican niche. So Pizza Hut actually starts their own restaurant called Taco Boy, ends up being a huge failure. They cannot out-taco the Bell. Okay,
Right.
fast forward 10 more years, they crush it the entire time, and then in 1978, they actually do end up getting bought out by a larger company, Pepsi.
Oh.
Omelet sausage.
Okay, and this is the most important part of the story because this is where shit gets completely out of hand, okay? Pepsi also bought a bunch of other restaurants right around the same time, like KFC and Pizza Hut.
Right.
But Pepsi wasn't out there buying all these restaurants because they were trying to make money off of the restaurant, right? They didn't think they could sell tacos better than Taco Bell. They didn't think they could sell pizza better than Pizza Hut. They bought them so that they could beat Coke. You see, because
Right.
at this point in time, Coca-Cola is number one. It's not even close. Everybody prefers Coke, and Coke is in every restaurant in America. And Pepsi realizes that they need to be able to get their soda into restaurants so that people are forced to try it.
Here comes your airplane. There you go. Open into the hangar. There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
Put it in your mouth and just eat it. God, I hate it.
And at this point, pretty much no restaurants in America are going to willingly carry Pepsi products because everybody wants Coke and they don't want to have to tell every customer, is Pepsi okay? So in PepsiCo's mind, in a complete just gangster big dick move, they're like, you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to force restaurants to carry Pepsi.
There you
We're gonna
go.
buy out entire restaurant chains and then force them to carry Pepsi products. products, which is going to force the customer to drink Pepsi, and then we're going to get a following. And why this is important to Taco Bell's story is because the new owner of Taco Bell doesn't really give a shit about tacos. Okay, new mission is not to sell good quality Mexican food at a fair price. No, the new mission is get as many motherfuckers through the door as possible and force them to try Pepsi. And at this,
You know what? It's not that uncommon to see only a few companies owning a huge amount of subsidies. I'll give you an idea. Every time you go into a gas station, every single time you go into a gas station, those shelves are stocked and manned by one of two companies. One of two companies does all of that. And every single time a distributor switches those companies, or, you know, an individual store owner, whatever, what have you, goes in and switches those companies, they have to come in and stock legitimately everything in that store again. And all of that gets, all the entire store stock gets taken to a distributor. So if you're ever at, like, this is God's honest truth, if you're ever going to like a flea market or somewhere like that and you see somebody selling a whole bunch of candy, it's because one of the two companies bought, got the rights to distribute from another one of those, blah 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 blah. You get it. They can't resell it, even if they have a brand new box of Reese's peanut butter cups. They can't just be like, okay, we're gonna sell this. No, they have to sell that off to a wholesale distributor, who then sells it to individuals. You can go out and legitimately buy pallets of convenience store food, chips, candy, the whole 9 yards, and you can do it for like $72. And I know that because like in late 2008, I actually there was no jobs to be found, so I actually found this out. Would drive a Dodge Stratus up to this one auction that happened in, well, it wasn't even an auction, it was a distributor in I think it was somewhere in Kentucky, and I'd buy this stuff. And $72, you get a pallet that is stacked about 6'8" tall, with boxes upon boxes of just candy, chips, gum, the whole 9 yards. If you can think it, it would be in there.
At this point, Taco Bell, aka the restaurant founded by a Marine, is like, I'm gonna do dumb shit and troll everybody. Which, to be fair, is a completely reasonable reaction when your entire company basically gets turned into a front to waterboard people with Pepsi. Okay,
there
we're
you
just gonna
go.
take the shenanigans from the top, okay? In 1992, Taco Bell hired Johnny Cash to be their spokesperson, right? And I know what you're thinking. Why is that funny? Johnny Cash is awesome. Seems like a
Yes,
great
he is.
spokesperson. A, I completely agree. But B, it's funny because he's the guy that got famous for singing The Ring of Fire. Okay, moving right along, the very next year, 19...
If you know, you know.
93, Demolition Man the movie comes out. Okay, for those of you that are not familiar with this cinematic masterpiece, here's the entire plot line. We're gonna take Rocky, we're gonna put him inside of a popsicle, and then we're gonna thaw him out like 100 years in the future so that he can fight Blade with blonde hair. So Taco Bell jump.
Demolition Man is one of those movies that it is an experience that you have to see to believe. It is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen before in my life. I have no idea how they can manage to get these actors to say some of the lines that come out of their mouths.
Jumps in and they're like, you know what? Make us every single restaurant in the future. During the storyline of this movie, have a little offshoot where you pepper in the fact that every restaurant in the world is now Taco Bell because there was restaurant wars and Taco Bell fucking won. Okay, the longer this story goes on, the more sense it makes that it was founded by a Marine. By the time 1996 rolls around, they decide they're not going to just troll their customers. They're going to start trolling everybody, including the United States government. So what they did for April Fools in 1996 is they took out out a full-page ad in the 7 biggest newspapers in America claiming that Taco Bell had reached an agreement with the U.S. government to purchase the fucking Liberty Bell and that they were renaming it the Taco Liberty Bell instead.
God.
Now, bear in mind, this is 1996. Public outcry is still moving pretty slow. There's no Twitter, there's no social medias where people can just immediately be a reactionary at the drop of a hat. No, if you want to be upset about something, you've got to write a letter or you've got to go get a phone book, track down somebody's phone number, and call them. There was so much public outcry that by noon of April Fools, the Philadelphia branch of the National Park Service had to have an emergency press conference and tell everybody that it was just a joke and that they didn't sell the Liberty Bell to a taco company. Also worth noting, because it's funny, the White House press secretary at the time, when he was asked about this joke, decided to be a complete smartass and respond by saying, and I quote, "The federal government is also selling the Lincoln Memorial to Ford Motor Company and renaming it the Lincoln Mercury Memorial." And my personal favorite, in 2001, the Russian/Soviet space station Mir was going to collide back to Earth. Okay, this is like the last
I remember this
symbol
crap
of Soviet space travel success, and it is going to fall into the ocean.
It's got to be his big break.
You have no idea. 2001 was a bad year for a lot of reasons, but the 1999 to 2001 up until September timeframe, for obvious reasons, some of the silliest, ridiculous stuff that you ever saw happened, and then everything sucked for years.
We're gonna get a giant inflatable target and stick it in that part of the ocean with a big ass bullseye that says "free tacos here." And if the Russians can manage to hit this fucking target with their space station, we're gonna give free tacos to everybody in America. Okay, this is why Pepsi's my favorite soda brand. Do I like the taste? No, but I just like how much they hate the USSR. Okay, for those of you a little fuzzy on the timeline, the USSR disbanded in 1991, right? 6 years later, in 1997, Pizza Hut, the other restaurant owned by Pepsi, gets Mikhail Gorbachev, the former leader of the USSR, to appear in a Pizza Hut commercial to send the very clear, very loud message of communism can out Pizza the Hut. And now, 4 years after that, the Mir space station, the last remaining symbol of Soviet success at literally anything, is about to fall out of orbit and collide with the planet, and a taco company is putting a giant target in outer space, offering free tacos to the entire country that beat them in the Cold War if they manage to hit this target with any remnants of this Soviet space station. Not only is this going to maximize the amount of people watching with anticipation as one of the last living memories of the Soviet Union dies, it's also one giant last middle finger letting them know, hey, we have complete confidence that you guys always miss. Which is exactly what happened. The Soviet space station did not hit the target, probably because it wasn't at point blank facing a wall, and Taco Bell did not have to buy everyone in America a taco. So Taco Bell is just god tier level shit talking and trolling, but on top of that, they also have brilliant marketing ideas. My personal favorite and most infuriating, mostly because it didn't stick around, was in 2017, Taco Bell collaborated with Lyft to have a taco mode inside of their app. And what taco mode was is that when you got picked up by your Lyft driver, they would then immediately take you to the closest Taco Bell drive-thru, let you get food, and then take you home from the bar.
That's really good.
Okay, I don't know how this feature didn't stick around longer. Maybe I'm in the minority, apparently, but this is exactly what I want.
Yeah, but then you got to think about it like this, okay? Taco Bell food, like, if you unwrap a hard shell taco, like, and you aren't coordinated enough, you're going to wind up with cheese, lettuce, and taco meat legitimately everywhere. It's going to go everywhere. Now, get somebody that's so drunk they feel like they need to call an Uber or a Lyft, and then put them in your car. And then, number one, give them Taco Bell. And number two, get a drunk person to open Taco Bell without it winding up in your entire back seat. I can understand why they removed that.
Okay, I spent my entire childhood getting told don't talk to strangers. As a grown-ass adult, there's nothing I want more in my life than to be able to summon a stranger with my cell phone and have them take me to Taco Bell before dropping my drunk ass off at home. And you know what? I'm gonna order all the ridiculous shit they've had on the menu over the years, because remember, they're only there to push Pepsi products. They don't care about having good quality Mexican food, and that's why they've essentially turned their entire menu into a circus show. I love it. The entire menu is just like the shit that you would talk about with your buddies when you were like drunk or high. Like, bro, you know what would sound good if we made a quesadilla and then turn that quesadilla into the shell for a burrito? We'll call it the quesarito. Oh man, this crunch wrap sure is good. You know what would make it better? If we replaced the hard shell tortilla on the inside with a giant fucking Cheez-It. And you know what, while we're at it, we might as well make the hard shell tacos shell a giant Dorito. Why
That was the best idea on planet Earth.
not? So yeah, in conclusion, that is the story of Taco Bell. That time that a Marine came home from World War II, started a Mexican hot dog restaurant that somehow perfected the art of shit-talking, trolling, and creating weird menu items, all on its quest to force people to drink Pepsi. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
Okay.
You know, for once, I know this video is super unhinged, but I feel like it's not my fault this time.
Okay, so seriously, Taco Bell had some of the best ad campaigns in the late 90s. The Taco Bell dog was the best thing on the planet, okay? It's the reason that people bought so many Chihuahuas. Because the Taco Bell, okay, guys, you gotta take a look at some of the old marketing from Taco Bell. Like the Godzilla movie, the crap Godzilla movie, the one that came out with Matthew Broderick, who I still don't understand why people give him acting roles. I'll never understand that whatsoever. The Taco Bell dog's just sitting there with a box with like a taco inside the box, like he's trying to trap something. It's like, here, lizard. Okay, enough of that. I'm an idiot. War Pugs. Taco Bell food is not good for you. It is in no way, shape, or form good for you. They know this. They know this very well. And they know that nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna care. I'm leaving. You guys have a wonderful day. I'll catch you guys next time. Check all the links in the description below. Join us on Patreon or a member for early access, and I am out of here. I have nothing left.